Welcome back, traders. This is Mike from MS100, and tonight I will release the weekend market basket watch list. But first, I'm going to take a look at the S&P on the 60-minute scale, the daily, and then do take a long-term look at the weekly, the monthly, and the yearly charts because I do think we have some interesting patterns setting up here. So let's get into it. Well, traders, this is the 60-minute chart of the S&P. As you see, as this possible bear flag that I drew in over here, we did close right below the channel, but then again, that was right at the end of the day on Friday when we did have that big pop and drop at the end of the day. So we're going to sort of play this by ear and see what happens tomorrow morning, whether we open down or we open back up in this channel and we couldn't possibly consolidate and move higher. The volume on Friday was doing a lot better than it has been the last couple of days on this sell-off, but we really don't know because it was relatively light volume throughout the day until the end of the day when the volume did pick back up. The stochastics here on this 60-minute chart, they just started to cross. So we still have a rising MACD, and we do also have a rising MACD histogram. So we're going to watch those two indicators right there to see if we do get some more buying in this market. It's all going to depend on how we open up tomorrow and how this possible pattern is going to play out. Let me open up the daily chart so we can take a look at that. Here's the daily chart of the SPY. As you can see, this trend line right here in orange, we are consolidating right underneath it with that possible bear flag for the next move lower, possibly at to one of these two moving averages, maybe causing some support. But if we do end up closing tomorrow above this line, you'll be able to see that we will come back into this channel trade where we have been for the last couple days, and actually not last couple days, sorry about that, the last couple weeks. So that's going to be a pretty interesting trade to see where we're going to go tomorrow. We do have the possible head and shoulders formation with the left shoulder here, the head here, and a possible right shoulder coming. We could form this right shoulder and create a slanted head and shoulders pattern right off of here if we break this trend line, or we could move down lower somewhere, support around one of these moving averages or this big black line I have drawn in as support, with a possible making of the right shoulder after that, and then a possible move lower. So let me tell you about the other charts that I'm going to pull up because I am still kind of bearish on this market short term. So let's take a look. Okay, traders, I pulled up the S&P 500 monthly chart that goes all the way back to 1974, which is right down here. I drew in a primary trend line after the lows of the 70 what is that? The 74, I believe that is. I'm sorry, the video's cutting it off. 74, 75 bottom here. And right now we did test that trend line and rally off that trend line. But as I'm looking here, I'm looking at this 200 period moving average that's drawn in on this chart, and we are under this moving average for the first time in, what is this, 30 years here. So a rally back up to it may not break it on the first try because the 200 period is a strong moving average and we haven't tested it since back here in 1980. So it's pretty interesting that we finally did test it and break through it on the first try in this pattern. I'm also looking at a possible channel pattern here, which I'll show you on the yearly chart right now when I pull it up. Alright, traders, this is the yearly chart of the S&P 500 going back to 1978 also. We do have this long ass trend line right here that's forming, and we do have a possible hammer pattern setting up here, which will be pretty interesting, which is a sign of a possible bottom here. Notice how it is lining up with the possibility of holding support on this trend line here, and we still are in this channel. Eventually, we're looking for this to break out of the channel a couple of years down the road, and when that does happen, we should have a pretty good measured move off of that, and the S&P should rally. But that is the long-term time frame chart. I do think we will pull back in the near future, and then come back and close the S&P somewhere around here on this chart. My next video, part 2, is going to be the weekly equity basket watch list for the week. So come check it out.